Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be talking about a very important topic. You know, there's a proverb that says, money answers all things. And being an entrepreneur seems like you're swimming in money, right? You're speaking money. And so it should have answered all the problems in your life, right? And entrepreneurship has been seen to be just a fancy thing where you just come, it's money, you just come, give a service. It seems so easy where you get money and you just flow in money and everything works out well. You have people working for you, you sleep and wake up like a king. So today I want to address the topic. And so we are going to be talking about the dark side of entrepreneurship. And I think we have the best guest to handle this topic. This has been an entrepreneur for years. He has made millions of naira. In fact, as at the last estimate, over 500 million in just 1 year in his entrepreneurship journey. So he's swimming in money, I guess. And that should have answered all the problems. However, we're going to have the opportunity to interact with him and ask him, has there been a dark side to this journey so far? The entrepreneurship journey generally, has there been a dark side to it? And what were your dark moments for the entrepreneurship money? If there is none, all of us become entrepreneurs to swim in money. Well, let's hear from him, sir.
Yeah, you know, I will always say this, that until your obsession becomes your occupation, you can never succeed at any endeavor. Yes. You know, I'll say this. One of the major, before I talk about, you know, dark days we experience in the real estate entrepreneurship journey, one of the dark part I would say that is in this entrepreneurship race is obsession. You know, in the course of the doing business, until you are so obsessed, possessed, engulfed by that business, swallowed up, soaked. In fact, you die to the business.
Oh wow.
Yes. To succeed at it.
You live and die in it.
Yes. You know, for me, for the past 6 years, Unilodge royalty has been the first thing in my head when I wake up in the morning, and the last thing when I sleep, when I'm about to go to bed. How that has happened, I don't know. I cannot really say. But the drive to succeed. You know, I always say that until your drive to succeed is greater than your fear for failure, you will never succeed. Until the drive to succeed is greater than the fear to fail, you will never succeed. So every morning when I wake up, after saying my prayers, the next thing on my head is Unilodge, my business. How do I push it? How do I put it at that level? How? Because as a leader, until you live the life, you cannot inspire people to follow that path. So you practically become a representation of what you believe in. You know, when your passion becomes the fuel that wakes you up every morning. Do you know why some people, they will just sleep and they will not wake up? Because there's no passion to wake them up.
Yes. Oh wow.
When there is a drive, when there is an assignment, when there's a purpose for living, death can be averted per time. How do I say this? For instance, let me give you a practical example in the Bible. The man who told God, and God extended his life for 15 more years because he had a purpose. He told God, I did this for the kingdom, I advanced the kingdom, I gave to your house and all. God gave him extra 50 years because why? He had not finished living his purpose here on earth. So when obsession becomes the reason for your living, obsession for your business, that business cannot die. That business becomes intertwined with your life. As long as you can draw breath, you think about the business. You must succeed. So I will say this, but obsession itself is not easy, because at the point of obsession, it practically takes 100% of your life.
Yeah.
Especially if you're not able to manage it, you may miss out on other important things in life. Because like, you know, life is all about business. You need to get married.
Oh, really?
Raise a family.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
But then, here we are coming to the dark side, right? Because if you wake up and all you think is the entrepreneurship and you sleep and all you think is entrepreneur, then something suffers.
Yes.
Something definitely
That's
suffers.
the dark side.
Yeah.
That's why you must end up with a partner that understands you. Else, your marriage will suffer. I, for one, I prefer to be with a partner that understands the business and even part of the business, because that way, from that point of view, you will not have the issue with you don't have time for me, you don't have time for me. We are both doing the business together, so we see at the business place and we go to meetings together, we go to conference together and what have you. That way, you are able to curb that issue of no attention for the family. So, of a truth, if you're not careful as an entrepreneur, your marriage may suffer. Your relationship with people too may also suffer. Like I said, obsession is very important. It's a key component to succeeding in business. If you're not obsessed about a business, you see that you have that lackadaisical attitude.
Yeah.
You know, there are some people that when they start doing a business, after the first 1, 2, 3, 6 months, they're on fire. But after 1 year, there's no energy again. Before you know, they pack up and they jump to that business. I'll call that business prostitution. How long will you continue in this? But when you know that this thing I'm doing is my purpose, is my assignment, and you soak and kill yourself and you're obsessed about it, that thing becomes part of your living. You will not wake up one morning and stop doing that business. You understand? So it's very important. So I tell you the truth, some dark days, you know, personally, it has affected my relationship with people. It has affected my relationship life. But as time goes on, it's all knowing the timing, knowing when, okay, now I have to give my business 100%. And then, okay, now I can give my business 70%. Then let me try and do other things. I can give it 50%. As the business begins to grow, you begin to delegate responsibilities to people in the company. Then you begin to have time for yourself and other personal issues that you need to sort. But if at the beginning point you are not obsessed enough about to give it your 100, it will not succeed. So knowing when to draw the balance, knowing when to give your business 100%, and when you can say, okay, I can start giving it 50 or 60% is very important. And another dark side also, I would say, is loneliness. There's a song that says it's lonely at the top. Indeed, for entrepreneurs, it's really lonely at the top. Because the fact that you're an entrepreneur means you are leading. And when you're leading, you must be in the front to lead those that are following you. You cannot be on the same point with the crowd, the same page with the crowd, and you're leading. No, you don't lead from the center, you lead from the front. So, and in the course of leading, you discover that you are alone and people are following you. And there are times that you want to share personal, issues with someone that you can communicate with, you can relate with. At that level, you may be standing alone. So that's why entrepreneurship is a lonely walk for greatness, but only for those who have the stamina. The sagacity, and not that are strong enough to say, okay, it's a journey I must walk, and I'll walk it leading people to greatness.
Interesting. So, with what you've said now, entrepreneurship, as sweet as it is, as it brings in money, it requires some level of compassion too.
Yes. Because
the entrepreneur requires the attention that he's giving to others. Things are suffering, he himself, I'm very sure you can some days go on working without food and only remember that you've not eaten at the end of the day. It's part of the obsession.
I'll tell you this, there have been times that, especially in the early stage of, okay, let me use Unilodge as a company, for example. At the early formative stage of Unilodge, there are times that you will go out in weeks, you will not close a particular any deal. You'll be living on your last card, but you just believe that this will work. So just like in the Bible, speaking of Moses, he said he preferred to suffer persecution with the throne of God because he had seen the riches or the glory that was ahead. Same thing, entrepreneurship is a call to ministry.
Oh, okay.
Yes. You are ministering to the need of people. You are providing solutions to the deficiencies in society. So in the course of doing this, you have to pay sacrifice, dangerous sacrifice. As an entrepreneur, as a matter of fact, after paying everybody, you are the last to be paid.
Whatever is the balance.
That's what you get. You pay the government if you're getting loans.
Yeah.
You pay suppliers for products.
Yeah.
You pay the bank. You pay tax. You pay staffs, employees. Then before you not pay yourself.
And in cases where nothing remains.
Okpari. So you see now, so the work of an entrepreneur, the life of an entrepreneur is one that is, is full, so full of obsession, it's full of loneliness. But depending on how you look at the loneliness,
Exactly.
could be a good form of being lonely. It could be a bad form when you're not able to communicate with anybody. But I tell you the truth, at the end you will see it was worth the effort and the journey.
And this reminds me of a story, though a bit personal, but I remember at some times I needed to take some exams. I had been a very serious person, a very, very serious person. I don't chat. If you come and say, hello, how are you? Have you eaten? My next question would be, why are you asking me have I eaten? How does that have to do with what the results I'm looking for, And then, moving forward, it reached a peak, a very tight point. And I needed somebody. To say, I'm not fine, no. But all my contacts, literally all my friends, were scared of picking their phone to call and say, how are you? Because if they should call and say, hello, Faith, how are you? My next question is, how many things have you achieved today? How many times have you gone out to do what you want to do? And you've eaten 2 times, And so, though I'm not a CEO, I'm not an entrepreneur. Well, I'm the CEO of my life. I'm the entrepreneur of my life. And so I'm obsessed. I was obsessed and I'm obsessed about succeeding, And it was affecting different areas. But I think, just like you said, you made a crucial point. Having people, a family that understands that you're obsessed together. So while these relationships and this family is building the obsession, it's also cancelling out those loneliness, cancelling out the, a very, very crucial point.
Let me come in and say this. I, for one, as a person, the summary of my life is in my business. So I tend to find comfort, friendship, communication from my business because I know I know that this is where I spend practically major part of my life. Do you understand? So that's why I like to build everything around it. Because if you try to detach it and you say, okay, business is business, and you're giving business your 100, where then does family comes in? When then does good relationship with friends and so comes in? So as a wise entrepreneur, try to build your life, your family, your friendship around your business circle. Because where you are giving your Bible said where a man's heart is, that's where his treasure will be. And where his treasure is, that's where his heart will be. So if you know this is where your treasure is, then build everything around that. That way, you will not be having any attention.
I hope you're taking notes from CEO Goodnews Obayuwana. I mean, so much knowledge already. Now, having established that these lonely moments are there, especially for the personal life, so far, what has been the dark side of the business of the entrepreneur?
Yeah, the dark side, like I said, you have to make tough decisions. In business, they say emotions should not be put to bear. That's to say, it should be the last thing you should put into consideration. You must always, at all times, take decisions that are profitable and good for the company. And most times, taking those decisions makes that emotional part of you to seem buried. Like, dead. How can you do this, boss? Especially someone that will be nice to you. And the person tends not to be delivering his job or her job. And you want to take actions. And you take those drastic actions. They'll see you as a bad person. But, come on, this is business. Business comes first. We got to know each other because of the business. So you should not be slacking on your job and expect because we are friends, I will not take. In fact, a lot of people that never thought I would take certain actions because of how familiar they were to me, they were shocked. Because I know I can be very playful, I can make the business environment very comfortable and conducive. Because as an entrepreneur, you must make your business environment very comfortable and conducive. That's the only way you can get the best out of people. When they are comfortable to express themselves, they will give you their 100. But some persons mistake that for complexity, and they tend to now becoming like a desica about their jobs or duty. So as an entrepreneur, taking that tough decision to say, I will take this action if you don't do your job, that's very tough. Especially with people who you've become very emotional with. So as a businessman, you must know when to draw the line. So that for me is one of the dark side. People you've expressed love to, they now start seeing you as a maniac or a devil.
Yeah.
It's life.
Yeah. And you made a statement earlier on. You said sometimes an entrepreneur goes on and can go out for a week without getting any sales covered.
Yeah.
How do you cope through those moments, living on last card?
Well, I'll say this, yeah. For any business that can survive the first 6 months and the first 3 months of functioning as a company or a business, that business can stand the test of time. The most darkest moments in a business are the first 6 months and the first 3 years of that business. In our own case, for Unilodge, the most darkest moment we ever experienced was, I would say, 3 years into our establishment as a company. We lost our office space. We're functioning as a company without an office. A company that was bringing monthly revenue of like 500 to 1 million in a month was struggling with 30,000 naira. Can you imagine that?
Wow.
Yes. So now that was the toughest stage, and the reason was I was away from Benin, so the ends I kept the business with, they were not functioning well. So, and I was not monitoring the whole process very well. So I'll take responsibility for that. So that taught me a critical lesson that when you are for a business, you must ensure that you have survived that first 3 years before you can start delegating certain sensitive part of the business to certain individuals. So for us, that period in time where we were not receiving as much profit, I understood that, okay, this was just a phase. In life, men are in stages and life is in phases. So you understand that this is a phase that will pass if you persistently and consistently remain steadfast. That's to say, you must not give up at that crucial time just because the business is not giving this kind of yield and you feel, oh, this is time to fold up. No. Nothing good comes easy. Everything in life goes through a stage that could be seen as a storm. Now, your ability for you to overcome that storm in business makes you a champion. So you should be ready to expect the storm. Be prepared for the storm. So when it comes, it won't catch you unawares. So you'll be like, oh, okay, this is the storm stage or the storm phase I will overcome, because it always come to pass and not to stay. So, that period in time, we continued, myself and my team, and as God will have it, before the next 6 months, everything became even more better than it were before.
Wow. Those moments, those 6 dark months, were there particular structures that you put in place to help you, come out of it? It was moving from, okay, you were at point A and we crashed to point B. However, we were able to build back up to point C, better than point A. What structures did you put in place to help overcome the dark sides?
Good. The reason why we went from point A down below, then better than point A, was because there was no structure. Or rather, there was no solid structure. So that whole experience of going through that storm taught me a lesson that you must build a solid structure that can function independently in your absence. So as God will have it, we have done that successfully now. So whether I'm available or not available, the business will function. So, and that stage, that period, when we're able to sit our ass back together and rethink and say, okay, what was it that we did wrong? I was able to fix those things. Then the business picked again. And, then we are in this point where we are. But I tell you the truth now, even if I delegate certain sensitive parts in this business now to individuals, I still strongly believe the business will succeed.
Yeah, because you've grown.
Yeah.
It's grown.
Growth.
Yes. Interesting. Now, are some dark sides or are some dark moments preventable? And if they are, what should be done to prevent? Entrepreneurship is a mix of risk, profits, and losses. Now there are certain risks that brings dark sides. However, in taking this risk, are there certain knowledge or things you must have in mind in order to prevent a risky decision from becoming a dark side of an entrepreneurship business?
Yeah, the truth is this: for being an entrepreneur, it is risky not to take risk because you don't want to grow if you're not ready to take risk. What guarantees spontaneous growth is making calculated risk. So if you're making any risk, it should be a calculated one that you are certain that this will be the outcome if I put this input. So over time, I've learned that, okay, it's good to be adventurous, it's good to want to explore, but ensure that before you take certain decisions or certain moves, you already put in place backup or shock absorber that will absorb the action and the reaction from that decision you are making in the company or in the business. So if you put it well, adequately enough in place, I assure you, even when you take some kind of calculated risk, even if the outcome is not so promising or as you expect, you'll be sure that the aftermath results will not be disastrous for the company. So it's good to take risks. You must take risks as an entrepreneur, else you don't want to grow if you don't take risks. But it should be a calculated one.
Calculated risk. Now, at what point did you begin to calculate risks properly? Because, of course, some mistakes you made, especially as relating to decision making, financial decisions, some mistakes you made at the earlier points, you wouldn't make them now because you know better, right?
Yeah.
So, at what point and how do people learn to make sensible risk? How did you learn it?
I'll tell you the truth. For setting up a business, be an entrepreneur, there's no manual. There's no book that you say go and read and you become a perfect entrepreneur. It's not possible. You can learn from knowledge from other people by having mentors and coaches. Then I tell you the truth, you also learn from experience. Sometimes you have to fail better, fail forward, and fail again to succeed better. So in the course of the business, do not be afraid to fail. Do not be afraid to make effort, to make moves and say, oh, because I'll fail, I don't want to. No, make it. Especially like I said, when you have put shock absorber in the company in place, that even if I fail, I can pick up from there and start up something else and start up from where I stopped within the business. So I tell you the truth, there's no manual, there's no textbook and say go and read and you become a perfect entrepreneur, because there's always a deficiency in all books that you need a component knowledge of this, and experience. You can't take or undermine the place of experience. There are certain things you will never have perfect knowledge of until you experience it. Yes. And there are certain things that you don't need to experience. You can learn from the experience of others.
Yeah.
So you need a balance and a mix of both to be a good entrepreneur.
Now, okay. So now that we have brought in experience, let's have a tweak. So far in your entrepreneurship journey, what is one major experience that shook you like electric shock? You know when somebody touches electric wire and shook you so hard. So far so good. Just one.
I'll say this, that I don't know, nothing has really shook me that off balance, because I expected it. Nothing good comes easy. When the going gets tough, only the tough gets going. So, but I will just mention some experience, that ugly experience or dark experience we have experienced as a company or a business or as an entrepreneur, but not that they shook me off my leg or off my beliefs or mentality.
Because you are clearly standing.
Yes, yes. So one of the darkest moments we faced as a company was at the early stage of our formation, when we were actually we hired a vehicle, a car, because we wanted to be exceptional and different from what the norms around Benin. So we had a car and we were balancing the owner 2k per day, 14k per week. Then, in the course of using it, one of our staff now went to go and put diesel oil on inside. We wanted to change the oil because it was due. Now went to go and buy diesel oil and pour inside the vehicle that uses normal oil, and the engine knocked.
My God.
So we had to buy. Imagine a company that just stand buying engine for a car. After that time, the owner collected the car back from us. God so kind, we experienced a major sales in our mattress sales business. So we're now able to buy our first car as a company.
Wow.
Benz 190 for 230,000 naira.
Wow. What's here?
That car. You need to pray to God to start that car. But we're using the car and God helped us.
Oh.
Less than few months, we bought another car and we now converted that car to pick up. We cut the back part of the car, converted to pick up the living mattress. Hallelujah.
Wow. So from a seemingly dark side.
That same car, yeah, I forgot to tell you. There were several times that car spoiled in as far as New Benin. Imagine my staffs pushing car from New Benin to Ugbowo. This is Unibe. One night it happened. It happened around that kind of 8 o'clock. They got to Ugbowo around to 12 at night, pushing the car because they were carrying goods and they cannot afford to leave the car. It was crazy.
Wow.
Crazy. They had to sleep. They slept in the office inside school. I had to sleep in the office with them. We slept inside school, in the office. The next day, everybody went to bed and they came back to work.
Wow. So it's very true that behind every greatness is a story.
Yeah.
Behind every greatness is a story. You know, there are so many things that we could draw out of this short story. The fact that if the employee had not poured diesel oil inside that car, maybe he would not have been pushed to get a car for a very long time. In fact, there are so many things that comes out of the dark side, and this has been an enlightening, beautiful moment. Because we're running out of time, we would now have to draw the curtains here. I am wishing we don't draw the curtains, and I'm sure the listeners are wishing so too. However, we would continue this discussion in the next episode of our podcast. There has been so many things said by the CEO. It has been an enlightening moment, not just, a discussion. So many lessons can be drawn. And I'm very sure you enjoyed just as much as I did. And I hope to see you on the next episode. So stay tuned. And once again, thank you for listening.